Well, Mayor Mike, welcome to 2020.
Oh,
Welcome back.
I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020.
Wow, that took an unexpected turn there.
Yeah.
So we welcome Barbara Walters to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. We don't have the flying cars. We don't have the space tourism yet. We do have
Yet.
video calling.
We do.
So
I like your
The
optimism.
Jetsons weren't exactly correct here in 2020, but we're working on that stuff as well as we're working on stuff here in Stevens Point.
Yeah, there's things are kind of quiet. We slowly went into the new year with all of our projects that are in the kind of pipeline moving right along, and anything new is a little ways out, probably closer to spring. So we've got the former Kmart development that's moving right along. Construction is proceeding through the winter months. Across the street from that, of course, you've got Taco John's. I see the now hiring sign is up, so that should be open relatively soon. So you can come on and get your potato olays or whatever turns your fancy there.
I don't know what they did with it, but as I drove by it, I smelled
The
potato olays.
Well, we do that. It's
Yeah.
kind of it's a precursor to the actual Taco John's. They pipe the smell in through the city just like they do in the casinos with oxygen and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing that. We put in some infrastructure to pipe in smells to attract people to the area.
Yes.
No, we didn't do that. We'll save that for the April Fool's episode. How's
Wow,
that?
why not? Why not? Yeah.
The Fox Theater, of course, that's being deconstructed as we speak. As you know, the building had fallen into some disrepair. There was a study done in, I think, 2013 that said it was still salvageable. However, since then, a leaky roof has deteriorated. I found out the other day that they found another rotten roof truss when they were deconstructing it. So that's moving along. As soon as we get that stabilized, the part that we're saving, we're going to send out an RFP for people who have ideas to redevelop that area. So if you're one of those people, get your pencil sharpened
Absolutely.
and start putting together a plan, because we'll have that RFP going out very shortly. Let's see what else we have going. The senior housing project on Water Street, again, moving right along. They've got the groundwork pretty much done. They'll be pouring footing soon, I believe. And that construction is going to continue through winter as well.
Yeah, and especially in the case of the Fox Theater, there was we did a lot of discussion about this in a very short period of time, obviously. And I know the project, it's been a very sensitive area. You've had to been blocking it off. You've had to kind of limit access to streets and things like
Right.
that in that area. Have you seen people kind of coming out and maybe just taking a gander to stir up old memories about that
Yeah,
building?
there's been a few people who have taken some pictures, but of course that area is dangerous now. The entire inside has been gutted. They're going to be starting to deconstruct the outside this week, so they'll see some significant changes. Of course, we just ask that the head turners keep their distance and make sure that they're safe, and let those professionals do the work that they need to do. It's sad that it's come to this, but we've given every opportunity to everybody who's expressed interest to try and do something with this, and it's just not happening. And the family didn't feel like signing off on that restrictive agreement they had. So this is what it comes to.
Yeah, and it's a process that you said is going to play out for another couple of weeks yet.
Yeah.
Do you have a hard date yet for the starts of that RFP process?
No,
as far as developers
no,
go?
we don't. Because to tell you the truth, we're not 100% sure that we can still save the front. We are pretty sure, but we won't know until we actually see that structure. There's a brick wall that goes from the footings all the way up to the roof, but we have no idea what condition the foundation is in, because nobody's really seen it in a while. With the water damage that's been seeping through the walls, if you see some of the pictures, you can see the plaster and everything is rotted. It may have destabilized some of the footings. We're pretty sure it didn't, but we want to make sure. We won't know until we get to that part of it.
So, and that's probably going to play out for another week or two yet,
Yeah,
right?
a couple of weeks.
Couple weeks. Any anticipated dates that you might have, the final end of the deconstruction project yet?
No, we really don't know. We got to leave it a little bit fluid. They're moving as fast as they can, but of course they're going to be subjected to weather now once they take those roof trusses out. So all of those things will come into play. We don't want to do anything. We don't want to rush anything by any means, because this is a pretty sensitive area. The walls are actually very close in some parts and shared in some parts to the neighboring buildings. So we want to make sure that everything is done in a very safe manner as well.
And the company that you hired to do this, obviously they specialize in things like this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was my understanding as well that some of these elements are being recycled of the building too. Is that correct?
Yes, they're recycling whatever they can. Urban Evolutions Incorporated is working with a company called Recyclean. So it's kind of a play on the word recycling, but it's clean instead of recycling. And they are going to be repurposing as much of the material as they can, which is what I would call our best worst case scenario. Yeah, we have to tear it down, but it will live on in others' facilities. They're also going to be having, my understanding is they're going to be having a sale of whatever fixtures might have been salvageable from inside, and there's seats and things like that, but they're kind of seen their better days. But they'll let us know as soon as they're able to do that sale, and that'll be open to the public.
So we'll look forward to news of that as well, because I'm sure there's a lot of people with a lot of great memories that might like to have something, or even repurpose it for another building as well, so you can tell that story to guests and visitors.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people out there with very fond memories, and I'm just kind of disappointed that it's come to this, but we also have to act in the best interest of the public, and safety came first. Speaking of safety,
yes,
our roads are plowed and salted and sanded, and our winter sports areas are back open. I want to remind people to shovel around their fire hydrants, and this holds true for any city. Emergency services, when they're needed, they need to get at those resources as quickly as they can, and if they still have to spend time shoveling out a fire hydrant or clearing a step to get into a house, that's going to take precious time away from their actual duties. So if you have a fire hydrant near you on your block, adopt it and keep that fire hydrant clear. They ask for about 3 feet on each side. So if you could do that, that would be spectacular. We want everybody to have a safe winter season.
Yeah, and most of those fire hydrants, I know some cities they put the little flag on the top of them, so no matter how deep the snow gets around it, you still know where it is. Because I've seen simulations of this. It can take up to 7 to 8 minutes if your fire hydrant hasn't been cleared for firefighters to get there, and in that time, that fire could have increased in size tenfold, which is a danger to everyone.
Right. So it's in all of our best interest to make sure that the emergency personnel that are out there have safe access to the resources available. We have ours on a GIS overlay. They have a map at the firehouse, so we can approximate where the fire hydrants are. But it sure helps a lot if they get there and it's available, so they don't have to clear it, and it could save lives.
Mm-hmm. And for residents, you've got the fire hydrants about on every block, I would assume.
Pretty darn close.
Just about on every corner. So if you're on a corner property especially, this is something that you want to pay attention to.
Right.
And as far as streets and sidewalks and things like that go, you mentioned that already. You've had to kind of clear the streets in the city a couple of times since we last spoke in front of the giant salt pile, which I'm sure is a little...
I'm hoping for an early spring. I don't know if it's actually going to happen in the next couple of weeks, but I'd be okay if it did.
Yeah, I think a lot of people certainly would be. I'm sure the salt pile's been eaten away a little bit since the last time we saw it, but you've been maybe more fortunate than we were last year. Things have been on the cleaner side. We'll say.
It hasn't been too bad. We want to remind people, too, the ordinances may be different depending on what city you live in, but in Stevens Point, if you have a boulevard, meaning there's grass between the sidewalk and the curb, we give you 24 hours after the snow falls to have those sidewalks clear. That's a city ordinance. If you don't have a boulevard, meaning the sidewalk goes right up to the curb, we give you some extra time. So you have 48 hours to clear that because you have to move the snow a little bit further away, and you don't have any real easy place to store some of that snow. But keep the sidewalks clear for those people, the pedestrians that are using it, or the bicyclists, or I don't think there's any skateboarders in the winter, but maybe that's a sport we should consider.
Yeah, them too. I mean, you've got people that might be in wheelchairs or power chairs that use the sidewalks as well. I mean, if you think your car handles the snow poorly, imagine how those vehicles handle
and that's a good point, because almost
too.
all of the corners have that apron, right? The ADA ramp. If that's not clear, you need to take care of that, because those people with the motorized scooters or the wheelchairs, or even those people who have maybe some disabilities with walking, whether it's a cane or a walker, that makes it extremely cumbersome for them to try and use the sidewalks. So try and keep those areas clear as well.
And even I call it the Lego plates right there at the sidewalk
sure.
as well, where the folks with the blind the sticks, so that way they know, okay, something dangerous could be coming up here. That's something that needs to be cleared out as well, because if they can't feel that, and it puts them in a tight spot.
Sure, absolutely.
So yeah, we'll make sure that residents, take care of the streets, take care of each other, as you like to say, in some of these in situations.
It's Wisconsin in winter. This isn't our first winter. It won't be our last, and we're all in this together until spring rolls around. So take care of your neighbors, take care of your friends, check on the elderly or maybe those that are a little homebound. See if they need some help.
Finally, one more before we let you go, because it is that time again. We always talk about the little postcard you get in the mail, the tax season. Those are due now. How do you want folks to take care of that here in the city?
Just bring a big bag of cash and drop it off at my office. No, I'm kidding. So the tax bills had gone out a little bit before Christmas. Most people previously had paid their taxes before the December 31st deadline to get it credited on their 2019 taxes. However, the tax laws changed and raised the minimum standard deduction, so it's not quite as important now, depending on what your income level is. But for those who didn't make that December 31st, the first installment is due January 31st. Second installment will be due April 30th, and the third installment will be due July 31st. You can pay those at the city treasurer's office. You can also pay online at stevenspoint.com. And of course, if you don't live in the city, you'll have to check with your local municipality to see where those get paid.
Absolutely. Well, we always appreciate the time here for Mayor's Monday, and we'll look forward to seeing what February brings. Maybe some more snow talk. Who knows?
Hopefully, we'll be done with the snow talk by then, and we'll be talking 70s, but probably not. I want to wish all your listeners and viewers a very happy and prosperous 2020. And until next time, I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020.